Hello, everyone. Diana Rankin here, and the internet worked like it's supposed to this time. I she's she's actually awake, just kind of watching and saying, "Mom, do you have a treat for me?" Not right now. I want to thank all of you for your prayers and your healing energy that you've sent. She's remarkably doing well under the conditions, under the diagnosis, but she's playing ball, and we have great faith and hope that we believe in miracles. So we believe she's going to be completely healed. We'll won't know for a few more months yet, but we'll see. Rush says, "Go, Diana and Piper," with the heart all tied up with ribbon. And Miriam says, "Hi, Diana and everyone. Delighted to have made your live. So glad you're here too. Thank you." I'm going to go ahead and get started because we're going to go over today's a little bit longer than usual. So that's why I want to get started. And what today is something a little bit different than what I normally do. But we didn't have any questions for many of you. So if you have questions, now personal questions, get a hold of me. Just give me a phone call. My phone number, I think, is on my website. If not, you can email me. That's on my website, or text me and set up a private session. But what we do here is we answer esoteric or spiritual questions. And normally I go in and write it out with my spirit guide, Phillip. But today's a little bit different. Phillip helps me with my reading or with my writing. So I don't know. This probably all came from Phillip. But what we're going to do today is every Friday, my newsletter comes out, and it's free. And it's basically just an article and then some the links to other articles if you want to read similar things, or also to maybe some YouTubes. So that comes out every Friday morning. It is free. If you want to sign up for it, just go to my website, which is just my name. After writing this and scheduling it to go out, what I did for today, I said, I'm going to expound. Now, the newsletter is just a relatively short article. So I'm taking time in our video to expound on what the newsletter told you. If you don't get the newsletter, that's all right. I'm going to explain everything as we go along. So you won't feel lost. If you got the newsletter, this is just taking it a little bit deeper, in addition to some of my own personal experiences of what these different dimensions are. And the reason I wanted to do this is so many of my clients are experiencing moving into different dimensions and not understanding what's taking place. And as we develop spiritually, it just starts happening naturally. I am not one that says, do that on your own. You know, if you have a good teacher or you're in a workshop and it's safe, but don't go exploring unless it's safe to do so. And always go in love. So we're going to get started. I just want to take a moment here and say hello to everyone. Miriam says, "Hi, Diana and everyone. Delighted." Oh, I've read that. Delighted made it live. Guida says, "Hi, Diana and Piper. Glad you are doing better." Thank you. So are we. And Julie says, "Hi, Diana. I'm on a train and managed to be with you live." She's in the UK. Wow, I love that. You can be live with us while you're moving on a train in the UK. In London. I've been to London, love London, been there a couple of times. And one of these days, maybe I'll get back. We love that. We will also, of course, get a message from one of my books, The Master's Book of Answers by Phillip. And that's just an oracle book. So we'll get your soul message for the week. But let's get started. And I am going to read from one of my other books. So what happens when we experience those other dimensions? Now, shamans and mystics and people who've had near-death experiences, people who lucid dream or astral project or deep meditation, you're going to automatically, if you're doing any of that, you know what I'm talking about with moving between dimensions. But I'm not talking about the people who are used to doing it. I'm talking about those of you who are having some of the experiences I'm going to be explaining. And you are moving between dimensions. And we do that naturally as we develop spiritually. So here are some of the signs that I want to give you. And I don't even know how many we have here, but I think, I don't know, less than 10, I think, 7 or 8. I didn't put this down because you may have one of the experiences and not the other. And this is not this is not numerically. This is just the different experiences that I think are the most common. One of them is you're sleeping and you jerk back into your body. It feels like you've fallen into your body. That is a fairly common sign that you've been traveling, astral traveling, or traveling into other dimensions. So if you feel that, just thank you. Another one is you're driving or walking down the street and you were here, and then all of a sudden you're here. And it's like, how did I get here? Now, this is different than brain fog. Brain fog is when I'm here and I'm so busy thinking of all this stuff going through my mind, and I get here and it's like, wait, how did I get here? That's different. This is you're here and suddenly you're here and you weren't thinking about anything. It just shifted for you. That's a moving between dimension. A similar experience, and to this day, I cannot explain it. And it happened many, many years ago. I was driving and I had a Volkswagen at the time, which was a small car, but not as small as what happened. There were 2 cars in the lane in front of me and no cars in the right lane. So 2 cars were going straight and I was going to turn right. I'm in the right lane when the second car in this lane suddenly veers in front of me. I slam on my brakes, but it's not enough, but I didn't hit him. Instead, somehow I slid between the car in the main lane and the car turning right that had just cut in front of me. There's no way my car would fit between these 2 other cars. No way. But there I am. And this is like, I couldn't see them when this happened. But as the light changed, then I saw this car go forward and this car turn right. And I felt back in my body, back in the car, and I turned right. Nobody was hurt, no scratches or dents on the car. I can't explain it to this day. And that goes back probably 50 years or more. Anyway, that's another experience. Another way is to have a vivid dream of a loved one who's passed over. And this often happens where the loved one, remember when we pass over, we go to school. So we have to have help and learn how to show themselves in this world, in the 3rd dimension. But they often do this with someone they love that they've left behind. And so as you're sleeping and you might experience the sensation, very vivid sensation of someone you love who's passed recently standing there at your bedside. It can happen like that. It's very real. I call that a visitation. It's different from a dream because dreams are but it happens in the dream time because in the dream time, we kind of suspend our doubting and our fears, and a lot can happen in the dream time that doesn't happen when in our conscious mind. So that can happen. Another way that can happen is very similar to the experience I had with the car years ago, is you might start feeling you're slipping or falling and suddenly you pulled upright, or you could be at the edge of a cliff and the rocks start giving away and suddenly you're pulled back. And you may or may not feel the pull, but I always say thank you, angels, but it could be an angel, it could be a loved one in spirit world, it could be any of the above, but you've moved into other dimensions. Another very common experience of moving into other dimensions, and this usually happens also in the dream time, is you experience being in a classroom. Now that classroom can be a large auditorium, it can be a normal type of classroom. It could be a small gathering place, inside, outside. It could even be a one-on-one, but you experience having a teacher and being taught. Another experience of moving into multi-dimensions is you have a sense of seeing into another life experience. I'm going to read that. A lot of these experiences I'm talking about, when you try to explain them, you lose it. There aren't words that really explain it. And so I thought, what I'm going to do is just read from one of my books, 23 Days, A Celtic Journey. It's a book-length poem. It is out of print. I think there are probably some used copies out of there, and no, authors don't get royalties when they're used copies, but that's okay. I'd rather have you read it if you're interested. So I'm going to just read actually 2 pages from this, 2 pages and a couple of lines from this particular book. And we're talking about a time in Ireland, and I'm there with, also there is a man involved, so you'll hear me talk about him. And the 2 of us had healing to do together, and we were soulmates, deep, deep love, but it was also a very painful love. And no, we were not supposed to stay together. So this is what I want you to do, is listen with your whole being and try to allow yourself to get the feeling of it. Before I know where Newgrange, and you see it already happens, I go into that accent, I feel energy moving through me, feel a pull back to the office I have left behind, hear the music of sacred dances I so often played, knowing not what is happening to me, only that something is unfolding within me. Or wrap my Irish cape around me against the chill of the day's storm, against the chill that skitters up my spine. You seem to know when to stay close, when to walk away. My fingers touch one of the stones, this stone so much larger than me. It commands me to walk around the grounds. I have no choice. Its command I must obey. Something deep within me stirs, moves around deep crevices within the labyrinth of my mind, wraps around my heart, touches all of me. I lean against a stone, it melts into me, or I into it, as it transports me to another time, another place. I stand back, see myself against the rock, fully engaged. At the same time, I am in my office, sacred dances, music taking me into trance 2 months ago. And still there is more. As I watch all this unfolding, these simultaneous lives of which I am each one, of which I am each one, on the lawn at Newgrange, a place I knew not of before this day, this trip, or so I thought. There is a stone structure like a flat beehive hut with another room off to one side. I enter into this building. No, I've been here before, once in earth time, once in trance. Now I stand here a third time and watch myself in these other lives, one a few months ago, one in ancient times. It was a ritual I experienced in the trance, a ritual of ancient times, druid times, a mingling of energies, male sperm and female eggs, using the human body to unite the divine. Oh, I told you of this ritual. That day I was pulled into trance. You told me of your morning. You told me your morning had been strange. You too were in a trance. You knew not of the details, only that something deep within you had been healed this morning while you were in your home in California and I in my office in Ohio. We were both in a druid ritual in ancient times. I cannot explain this, only report what I know, this truth as I stand here now. That explains it easier than I can explain it. When you experience, and it's very, very real, this experience of another time, another place, another life. And that just means you've moved into that dimension. You can also see yourself in multiple experiences, and it's like flipping through pages of a book that just kind of flip right in front of you. You know, it's just taking a book and just going like that, and you experience multiple lives. That happened to me. I was visiting, this goes again back many years. I was visiting my ex-husband in his apartment, and I went to the restroom, and I'm walking back down the hall. He's in the living room playing with my two Shelties at the time. And I walk, and as I walk down the hall, a very short hallway, actually, this all happened in a matter of seconds. I am suddenly, this is flipping through me, showing me all the lives I've lived with him and what it was we had to come together for in this life. And it was a very healing experience. And it also showed me what the dogs were, why they were there. Now, here's an experience that we all have. Deja vu. You're in a place that you've never been before, but you know this place. You know what's over there. You know what's over there. Deja vu. I was a girl, and I saw the school bus coming and kids getting on it 10 minutes before it happened. And my brother was there, and I mentioned it to him, and he's going, you don't say things like that. So I stopped. But that's very real, and I think it does happen to children easier than adults because we suppress it until we allow it to happen. Another experience is waking from a dream, knowing you were having a conversation with someone, but not necessarily remembering what it was about. That happened to me a lot before I really allowed myself to recognize Phillip, my spirit guide, and communicate with him. It happens in the dream time, because in the dream time we're ready for it. We're not consciously ready for it. Another reason, another way you know you've been into multiple dimensions is to I find this in nature. And you stand in nature, and you are more than your body. You are so much more. You are the clouds. You are the sun. You are the robin flying overhead. You have that sense of total oneness. And that's when you know that naturally, as we progress spiritually, we start having more and more of these experiences. There's nothing to fear as long as we're going in love. If we go into any dimension that is fearful, simply ban. I'm only going in to love. I know there are those who work with the dark side. If you're going to do that, get training. It's not my journey this life. I work with the light, with love. That's not to say we never experience the dark side, but not in spirit. I don't in spirit world. I've been very fortunate in that. But what I want you to know is always go with love, go with safety. And what happens as we experience those other dimensions, we start recognizing that we are energy. That's all we really are. We are spirit beings having a human experience, and we're capable of moving outside of time and moving into other dimensions where we learn greater love, or for those who are here just to heal and bring life back into love, bringing that love back into this third dimension. Many of us, that's what's happening now. If you've had experiences that you are having now, or experiences that you've had and you wondered about them, hopefully we've answered a few questions for you today. I want to read just a couple of lines from 23 Days, A Celtic Journey Again in Ireland, because it kind of explains that last part where I was talking about feeling one with everything. Is it true, as lore tells the story, one can see the other world in the crest of a wave? I gain a glimpse of something here, a life beyond my own. I am but an instrument. Life lives but through me. I, the ocean, pastures green and stones of ancient secrets held. I am the land, the gull in flight, and the raven's wing, the mist and clouds and skies of gray and flowers now in bloom. I am all of this. I am also you. And at the same time, I am still me. All right, my friends, let us get our message. And yes, this book, unless you can find it used, it's out of print, but it's 23 Days, A Celtic Journey. In one of my other books, The Found Child, this one's still in print, and it's a fiction book, maybe, but it is a story, and Phillip takes you through spirit world. So that one's still available. Maybe someday I'll read from that. But right now, let's get our message from Phillip, shall we? I'm hearing left. If you heard left, we're just in sync with our soul, our intuition. If you heard right, that's a message you need to pay attention to, because that's an additional message for you. So we're page 230. This is a good message for now. On the left side, page 230, you cannot gain love from that which you condemn. You cannot gain love from that which you condemn. What we want to do with our political situation that is harming the world, here in the US, we're harming the world. It is not condemn or badmouth the person, and use this in your personal life too, but condemn and the actions. And in condemning the actions, we push back, but we push back with love, which is much more powerful than fear or any fear-based emotion. We push back with strong love. If you heard right, you might be going through a rough time. This is page 231. The sailor who has weathered many a storm is the sailor who knows how to handle a ship. The sailor who has weathered many a storm is the sailor who knows how to handle a ship. Okay, my friends, I was an ocean sailor when I lived in California. And yes, I learned how to handle storms. And isn't that true of our lives? As we move through the storms, we find the rain is beautiful. I want to also say we do have storms coming through. So everybody be safe. I love you all. Thank you for those of you who can come live. I'm so grateful for you, because I don't feel like I'm just talking to myself. For the rest of you, thank you for your comments. Thank you for your hearts, your likes. Thank you. I always forget to say that. So thank you for the likes and the hearts. And those of you who couldn't come live today, we miss you. And thank you for your prayers and your love for our little girl. She knows she looked up. She was sleeping and looked up. We're doing our best to heal her. And we have a vet that we really like, who does have her, by the way, on mushroom therapy. So we are doing a mixture of, our protocol is a mixture of traditional and I want to say metaphysical, but like herbal. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. I love you all. Thank you. And I hope today was helpful to you, because if you're hearing the sound of my voice, there's a real good chance that you're already moving between dimensions. Take care, my friends. I love you. My sisters, my brothers, my soul family. Bye for now.